In today's video, we're going to create this pricing plan SaaS style animation in After Effects. So let's get started. All right, let's create a new composition. I'm going to go with 1920 by 1080. Rename this main comp and 30 frames per second. Hit OK. Create a new solid. Rename this BG for background. Make comp size. Hit OK. Go to the effects and presets and search for gradient. I'm gonna drop this for color gradient and change the color to a little bit to the darker side here. I can just pick the colors here and here and here, and I can just shift the colors a little bit here to the brighter side, and to this one I can just, not that, this one, I can just shift this bright a little bit. Right, so that's nice. And without selecting any layers, just draw an ellipse, something like this, like that, and go to the properties panel. You can just change from solid to radial gradient, and I'm gonna go and click on this, and I'm gonna set the color to whatever color you like. Maybe I'm gonna set it to a little bit to the darker blue tone here. Yours might be at 100% here. Below is the color button, and the top here is the opacity, right? So I'm gonna lower this opacity so that we don't have anything here. So I'm gonna hit OK, and you just click on these handles, and you can just, drag this out like this, okay? And okay, you can just size it up a little bit here, something like that, right? And once you're happy with that, I can just move this down a touch so that we have a little bit of glow here. So that is that, and I'm gonna select this text tool and type in the text pricing. By the way, I'm using this SF Pro font, and I'm just aligning it horizontally, and I'll just move it down somewhere here, so I can just turn on the title action save. So I think that should be fine. All right, now that we have the background in place, let's go ahead and create the plans. Okay, let's go and create a new composition, and I'm going to divide this 1920 into 4 divided by 4, which gives me 480, and I'm going to dial down this height to around 800. Okay, rename these to free plan. I'm gonna hit If you find this video helpful so far, be sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you want to master After Effects and land high-paying clients, sign up for my new After Effects course. I'll be releasing it very soon. And go and select this rounded rectangle tool, double click on it. That creates a shape here, and I'm going here in the properties panel and change this to solid color. Okay, and I'm going to add the roundness to 50, set the roundness to 50, and I'm going to rename this to main shape. All right, so I think I will change the color to a little bit red, so this does not matter right now. We just want to make sure the texts are visible here. All right, so let's just create a text, free plan. I'm gonna dial this down to maybe about 18 or so. I'll just move it somewhere around here, okay? And I'm just going to duplicate this, and I'm just going to rename these to just free, and just dial up these values to, I don't know, maybe 65 or so, and move it down somewhere around here. And I'm going to pick on the pen tool. I'm just going to X out the fill. I just need a stroke, white stroke around. All right, just draw this stroke. Click here, hold down shift and click on the other end. Bring down this to 1. All right, just rename this line, okay? And once you are there, I can just duplicate this free plan, which is this, Control D to duplicate. I'm just going to move this up just above the line, and I'm bring it down. And I'm just going to write the features of this free plan, okay? Send All right, this is the text, and I have the icon which I downloaded from Flat Icons. I'll just drag it inside. This is the PNG image, and drag and drop this. I'm gonna scale it down to about 10, maybe 8, 5. Yes, I think it's 5, right? So make sure you are perfectly aligned with this line, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this here. Go to the effects and presets, search for fill, drag and drop this on that icon, and I'm gonna change this to white so that you have a white icon. So I'm gonna select both of these, go to align, and I'm going to align this vertically so that we have perfectly aligned lines here. Okay, so once you are happy with that, I can just select both of this and I can change the color to, I don't know, yellow, so that you can know what layer is which. Okay, so I'm gonna go and duplicate this, Control D, move it up, and I'm just going to hold down Shift and move it down, so you don't have to worry about the spacing as of now. I'm just going to duplicate one more time, move it up and move it down. I'll just go and duplicate a few copies here, Control D, moving up, down, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need one more, duplicate, move it up here and push it down somewhere here. All right, so I'll just go and drag this down. Maybe I want to extend the list up until here. Okay, so once you are there, you just select the text and hold down Shift and select the first text. If you hold down Shift and click on the rest of the text, go to Align, and you can just click Distribute vertically. So you'll do the same for the icons. I'm going to select this, hold down Shift and click on this, Shift click the rest, and I'm going to distribute so it's perfectly aligned like that. All right, so since we have that, let's just duplicate this main shape, Control D to duplicate, and I'm gonna move this up here. I'm gonna rename this button. So what I'm gonna do is go inside this contents, go to rectangle path, and uncheck this size, and I'm gonna shrink it down to, I don't know, 10. No, that's too low. Maybe here. I'm going to change the color to black so that I can see what I am editing it. So I'm going to shrink this down and I'm going to make sure this is up until here, right? All right, so let's bring this down here and maybe shrink it down a touch and move it down. So, and what I'm going to do is select the text tool, type in a text to get started, okay? And align it here, shrink it down to, I don't know, 25, align it to the center here, and I'm gonna move this down a touch. All right, let's just go and turn off this. And the whole idea of this is we're just going to design one plan and we're gonna duplicate this and update the contents. That way you have a non-destructive workflow and you can reuse this animation over and over again. That is what we're going to do in this tutorial. So stick till the end of the video to know how to do that. All right, let's start with the shape here. Go and collapse this. These are very simple animation techniques. Just go to the rectangle, uncheck this, and I'm going few frames ahead. I hold down Shift and paste down 3 times, set a keyframe for the size, and go back to the first frame. And I want this Y rotate. I want this Y to be 0, 0, and it's going to come up like that. All right, so select all the keyframes, F9 for easy ease. Go to the graph. And I'm going to change the graph to something like this. So it comes up there. And right after that, I want this plan animation to start. All right, so go to the normal timeline. I'm just going to zoom in here. You can just select all of this, hold down Alt and the left square bracket. And it will start from here. So the free plan here, I'm going to add a animate position, and I'm going to move this to a -50 and drop it from here, and range selector, go to advanced, and I'm going to change this to ramp up. Offset this timing, set a keyframe, hold down shift and page down twice, and I'm going to set this to 100. So this is what you have. Okay, so what I'm going to be adding is a property and opacity, which will start from 0. So it starts from 0, it comes up, and I will also add a blur, which will start from, I don't know, 20. All right, that is really nice. And I'm going to increase this ease low to 100, and that will have some easy ease. All right, so that's what I want to do. And you can also save this animation as a preset so that you don't have to redo the animation again and again. And that's exactly what I'm going to do now. So go to animation, selecting on this animator one, go to animation, save animation presets, and I'm going to save this to text one. Okay, save that. And what I'm going to do is, so where you can find that animation presets is here in the animation presets. Go to user preset, go to user presets, and you can see here. Let's move on. So from here, I will just hit shift and page down once, and I will start this free animation, and I'm going to drag and drop this SaaS animation preset that we just created, drop it here. And this is also coming from the top, so I don't want that. Hit U to bring up the keyframes, and I'm going to start this from here, from this keyframe. So I'm going to hold down Alt and the left square bracket, collapse this, and change this position. I want the position to come up from the bottom. So this is -50, and maybe I'm going to add this to 200. So it comes from the bottom. All right, that's exactly what I want. All right, so that's nice. And just after hold down shift and page down once, I want this to come up, this line. So what I'm going to do is go to add, trim path, and I'm going to set this to 0 from here, set a keyframe, 1, 2, shift and page down twice, and I'm going to set this to 100. Select all the keyframes, F9. So if you can't see your lines while selecting this, make sure you hide these gizmos. You can also hide these handles, Control Shift and H, so that you can see it better, like that. So Control Shift and H to bring it back. All right, so that's what I want. And let's just go from here. I will just trim this layer, hold down Alt and the left square bracket, and shift page down once. So I'm going to start this animation again. Shift page down once, and since I want this animation also to come up from the bottom, I will just go to this text. Since we already changed the position, I'm just going to copy this animator, Control C to copy, and I'm gonna paste it here. So remember, your time indicator is where your animation will start. So I'm going to hold down shift and page down once, trim that, Control V to paste it. All right, so one more thing I want to change here in the animation, going to text, animator 1, and arrange selector, advance, and I'm going here and based on characters to words. So the words come up like this. That is very nice. And I will also have to animate this. So I'm going to hit U from here. So these are the keyframes. So I'm going to trim this as well. Hit S on the keyboard and shift page down twice. Set a keyframe for the scale. Shift and page up twice to come back. I'm going to set this to 0. Select all the keyframes, F9, and I'm going to go and do this easy ease. All right, so that's really nice. All right, so I'm going to copy the scale as well and the text animation from here. So I'll just go with the text first. Let's go and collapse this animator 1. So I'm going to copy this, Control C to copy. And from here, I'm going to go page, shift and page down once. And I'm going to select both of this and I'm going to trim this. And I'm going to apply the animation presets from here, Control V to paste it. And also the scale, Control C to copy, and Control V to paste it. Not here, Control V to paste it in this layer, right? And I'm going Shift page down once, select both of these, hold down Alt and the left square bracket, and I'm going to copy the animation properties, Control C to copy, and you can just paste it here. And I'll just do for the text first. Shift page down once, and I'm going to copy and paste it here. Select both of these, Shift page down once, hold down Alt and the left square bracket. I'm going to paste it here. Right, so you have that, but you don't have the scale animation for this. So I'm going to copy the scale of this, Control C to copy, and I'm going to paste it here. Make sure you select the right layers, otherwise it will not happen. So you're going to mess up everything. Select this, Control V to paste it. All right, so let's just go and see what we have so far. All right, that's really nice. It's really nice. And right about there, I want Shift and page down once, and I want this to animation to happen. Hold down Alt and the right square bracket, and I still have the animation. I think I will still copy the animation of the first. I will just copy the animation from here. Text animator 1, Control C to copy and paste it in the get started, Control V to paste it. All right, so but the problem is it's coming out from outside of this box, so we'll fix that real quick here. So make sure you are at the end of the animation, not here. So the end of the animation, I'm going to go and right click on the text layer, go to mask, new mask, so it's created there, and I will just go and grab this mask and extend it to the height of this box. So you can always duplicate this button and you can just track mat it, but I think that makes the layer more messy, so this is what I like to do. All right, so let's just animate this button. Go into the rectangle, and from here I'm gonna set this size here, Shift and page down here, 1 2 3, I'm going to set this here X to 0, so it comes up like that. Right, select all the keyframes, F9, and I'll change the graph to something like this. Okay, now that we have the animation in place, let's just work with the look of this. So for that, we just need to, import one background and drag this image to the bottom of all the layers. Just Control Shift and H, and size it down. And I will turn this layer, which is the main shape layer, an adjustment layer, but by just clicking on this. And we're going to go inside the effects and presets, and I'm going to type in Gaussian blur, and I'm going to drag and drop this Gaussian blur here. All right, so I can just increase the Gaussian blur to, I don't know, 30, like that. And if you turn off this background layer and go to the main comp and go to the project panel, and you have the free plan here, just drag and drop that comp inside this main comp. And if you play it back now, you don't see the blur here because we have to turn on this collapse transformation. Just click on that, you can see some blur here. All right, let's go back to the free plan and let's just enable the background. Let me just duplicate the main shape, Control D, and I'm going to rename this stroke and disable the adjustment layer and disable the fill. And I just need a stroke, white. Maybe I'm gonna dot it down to 0.2. If I go back, and you can see you have a little bit of edges here, which I really like. And I will also duplicate this main shape, Control D, and rename this edge glow. Go to the effects and presets and search for light sweep. I'm going to drop it inside that, and I'm going to disable the adjustment layer for this. And you can just delete the Gaussian blur. We don't need that. And I'm going to lower down this sweep intensity to 0. And if you see here, you have a edge glow here, and you can just adjust the intensity and thickness, and you can also increase the width. And you can, just play with these settings and change this to cutout. If you go back to the main comp, you can see here, and we're going to animate the rotation, right? So we're going to hold down Alt and click on this direction and type in time times 30. And if you see that here, you can see some animation is going on here. All right, so I'm going to leave that for now and, just adjust this intensity and maybe width. I think lower down it has intensity a touch, something like that. All right, that's really nice. And what I also did was I'm going to duplicate this stroke, Control D, and I just added a glow. I added a deep glow. You can also add an stylized glow if you don't have this deep glow plugin. And you can just go inside this, go and add trim path, which is trim path. And what I will do is animate the trim path and from 0, go a few frames ahead. Set this to 100, maybe this to 0. Select all the keyframes, F9, and I will increase this to 0.5 and hold down Alt and click on the stopwatch of the offset, and I'm just going to type in time times maybe 30 so that you have an animation. You can see. Maybe I just want to change the name to stroke animation and hit U and change the values of the trim path from 100 to maybe a 30, and so that you have not the full rotation, just half, and it will just keep on moving like that. All right, so it looks really nice now, and I'm going to add the same effect for this button, right? Let's just go ahead and duplicate the button, Control D, and just rename this button edge glow. Okay, I'm going to copy the edge glow effect from the previous one, Control C, and I'm going to paste it here in the button, Control V to paste it, and some edge glow here, Control Shift and H to hide the handles, and you can see it clearly there, right? Okay, so let's just turn off the background layer here, and let's just go back to the main comp. So before we move on, let's just reposition it down here, and I'm going to go inside the free plan, and I'm going to select all of this. Since we're going to have a camera animation, we're going to make this a 3D, and make sure to turn on the motion blur as well. This is very, very important. And right now, if you turn on the 3D and duplicate it, and I'm going to move it to this side here, and I'm going to duplicate it one more time, and I'm going to move it to the side. And I'm going to offset the animation of this. So I'm going to start from here, which is the top. This is a free plan. And I'll hold down Shift and page down 1. And then after that, I want the number 2, which is this, to come up. I'm going to move it here, hold down Shift and page down once, and the last one, which is this. So it's going to start like this. Duplicate the free plan here, Control D, and I'm going to rename this to standard plan, and duplicate another copy and premium plan. So what I'm going to do is select the number 2, which is the middle one. This should be a standard plan. So I'm going to hold down Alt while selecting on this free plan, the middle one, and drag and drop it. That will replace that, but nothing happens because we haven't updated the content inside this. So we're going to double click on this, and let's just go and select this free. Which one? This one. Free plan. This free plan should be standard plan, and the free should be $9 per month. Okay, so if you go back to the main com now, you can see that it updates here. So the same for the other one, which is the premium plan. So I'm going to select this layer first, hold down Alt and drag and drop the premium plan. Nothing happens because you haven't updated the contents. Let's go inside here. Let's just click on the premium plan, and I'm going to charge maybe $19 per month. Okay, so if you go back and see, oops, I replaced the wrong one. No issues for that. Hold on Alt. It should be this one, right? So the first one, which is the first one, should be the free plan. It should go here. Okay. All right, that's looking really nice. Let's move on to the animation of the camera. That's really important, right? So I'm going to go and select the background, shape, and the price, and make this a 3D layer as well. And I'm going to select 3 of this, hit P on the keyboard, and I'm going to move it backwards so that we have some parallaxing effect when we move the camera. And select the background and the shape layer, hit S, and I'm going to scale it back up to fit the comp size. And maybe I'm going to shrink down this one, shape layer, and I'm going to move it down somewhere around here. Okay, so we have a subtle brightness at the bottom here. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scale up the text, scale it up, and try to align it to the center and move it up a touch like this. I just added the text animation presets that we saved earlier and moved the position to negative values to 500. So that's how this animation is done. That's really simple. And let's just go ahead and create a new null object and rename this cam1. Okay, so I'm going to start from here. Maybe it's right from here. Hold down Alt and trim that. Make this a 3D layer. And what I'm going to do before that is I'm going to push this background slightly away from the main background. So I'm going to select all the layers and parent the layers to the camera null object. Hit P, set a keyframe, and I'm going to move few frames somewhere around here. And I'm going to zoom in and, try to reframe it. Something like this. And I'm going to move it down. Select all the keyframes, F9, and make the graph like this. Let's just see what we have here. I think that is really slow. I'm going to move it here and just adjust the timing. So timing is everything here. So it's going there. Okay. And I'm going to create another null object. And maybe I'm going to start from here. Hold down Alt and the left square bracket. Make it a 3D. And I'm going to link this camera1 to the new null object. Hit P, set a keyframe, maybe here, and move few frames ahead. And I'm going to move it to the right side and go to the last plan, which is somewhere around here. Okay, select all the keyframes, F9, go to the graph, and maybe I'm going to start slowly and gain the speed. So when it zooms in, you will have some camera movements as well. You can see that is very smooth. So that is very smooth, right? It stops directly here, so I just don't want that. So I'm going to create another null object. Maybe I'm going to start from here, hold down Alt and the left square bracket, make it a 3D. I'm going to link the previous null to the next null, the new null. Set a keyframe for the position, move a few frames ahead, and I'm just going to move it slightly to the left side. Select all the keyframes, F9, and just preview that. So it goes there. I think this one should be edited. I think maybe I will just... Okay, that's really smooth now. Okay. At the starting, you still have some glow here. So I also added a glow to this layer, and I added a deep glow here. I animate the opacity from 0, set a keyframe, move few frames, maybe here. I want to set this to 100. Here, select all the keyframes, and just random numbers, 50, maybe here, and 100. Okay. And I also added an opacity animation. I also add an opacity to the background layer. By the way, if you hit T on the keyboard, that reveals the opacity. Set a keyframe here, go to the first, make it 0, and ease them. That's a really smooth animation, right? So the final tip is make sure to turn on the motion blur for all the layers and for the composition. Motion blur will sell the effect even more, right? So that is how I created this butter smooth SaaS animation in After Effects. The project file is also available on my Telegram channel. Be sure to check that out. The link will be there in the description down below. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Take care.